Hey, thanks for checking out Nuts and Bolts with Tone, and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to talk about, well, pretty much mostly Mac tools. So this video all starts with this guy right here. Alright, so this is a block plug in a 7.3 Powerstroke. Okay, you can see the size. Alright, so this thing, so I had this 7.3, it has fuel in the coolant, and you have to drain the block. You have to drain both sides of the block. All right, and so to do that, you have to use, it's a quarter drive plug. All right, here we go. We're gonna get up in here. We're gonna look at that hole in the block right there. That right there is the block plug, and there's one behind the starter on the other side and one on this side. You gotta drain it to get the coolant out of the block, in this case to get the fuel and the coolant out of the block. So this one here took me 3 hours. It was so rusted my tool broke off inside the hole. And in this video we're going to talk about what it took to get it out. I'm going to show you, and but I just want you to see firsthand. There it is. It is a pain in the butt. So passenger side, I put my tool in and my tool broke in the plug. Driver side, took the starter off, block plug came right out, no problem. So clearly that other side was rusted in pretty bad. So that's the end result. So I'm going to show you everything it took me to get to where I had to go. So first I tried the gripping sockets that grab. Well, first I tried everything under the sun to get the piece out of the socket, and I couldn't do it, out of the bolt. So I have this set here. So this set is going to come into play a lot in this job. So you ever been in a position where you need to hammer a punch, a chisel, whatever, and you just don't have room to hit it with your hammer? Well, so Mac Tools sells this, Snap-on sells this kit right here, okay? So this is a Snap-on kit. It's a 4-piece set. All right, so what these do is these have a spring, and it's got a handle. You hold on to it, and as you can see right in the center, it's not making contact. So you pull it and you let go, and it is a hammerless chisel, punch, whatever. They make bigger sets. This is the set I have. So I've tried to use this one, which is a little tip. I tried using this guy right here to try to pop in the corners. Man, I tried everything. I could not get this piece out. And it was even wiggling in there. I just couldn't. I tried drilling it, and when I did all of that, drilling it, trying to chisel it, I basically impacted it so bad that I couldn't get it out. And so then we tried the gripping sockets. One of my coworkers just bought a brand new set. I got my sets out. We tried every single one. We tried, he was prying on the frame with a pry bar up against my ratchet, and it just wouldn't let go. So at that point, and we even tried a chisel with an air hammer, trying to get the edge to catch and get it to go, and all it was doing was cutting into the block plug. And now the block plug was only sticking out this far, so not much to grab onto. But we tried. So the next step was to drill. All right, so drilling through this thing was pretty rough. So the drill bits I have are these Mac Tools Carbide bits, and brand spanking new Mac Tools left-hand drill bits. So, and it's all funny because it's mostly Mac. Here's my Mac drill, right? So this fits in there perfect. I was able to get in there. I tried everything. I mean, you can see all my drill bits that are turned upside down because they were just wore out, and they weren't sharp. So 1, 2, 3, 4 bits I had to turn over. I tried left-hand drill bits because I was going to be using easy out extractors, and it wouldn't drill through it. So started trying to drill, and as I kept, it wouldn't drill. I kept moving up, trying to find a bit that was sharp, that was going to bite, and I just couldn't do it. I mean, it was really, man, it was like probably an hour and a half to get one bit to go through. And when I did, it was a 7/64. 7/64 is the bit that went through, And as you can see, that's really small. So then I had to wait forever for this cooling system to drain out. And then I was able to keep moving up and up and up to the point to where I was able to get a 1/4 inch left-hand drill bit in there and drill through. Now I was pretty sure I was pretty darn centered in the plug, but not 100% certain. So I actually even went up to a 19/64, which is my biggest left-hand drill bit. And that was the highest that I drilled. So I got a 19/64 drill bit through the hole, and then was on to this. Now I just bought this set, this Mac Tools set of extractors. All right, so here's the extractors. I talked about these in a previous video. They were brand new, I hadn't used them. I had used a coworker's, and his worked great in a BMW starter bolt. However, that was like a titanium bolt in an aluminum block. It came right out. So I think I started all the way down. I kept trying to use these. I would drill, try this, it wouldn't go. I kept going bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where I ended up with a 5/16, which is this guy right here. I ended up with the 5/16, and it still wouldn't go. And I took it out. I was about to give up. I mean, I didn't know what else to do. I was pretty frustrated. And I kept trying it, and it's at that point where you feel like it's either the bolt, it's gonna come out, or it's gonna break the tool. If it broke the tool, I would be in a world of hurt, because then this thing, you're not drilling through that. So I finally had the 5/16 in there, and I'm turning it. This is like several tries of doing this, and finally I'm like, all right, you know what? I got to give it just a little bit more, and it's either gonna break or it's not. And, you know, it is what it is. And I heard a crack. My ratchet moved like this far, but the bolt didn't move. And so then I thought, uh-oh, you know, did it move? Did it break free? But the bolt didn't move. The plug didn't move. So okay, my ratchet, you know, broke loose and moved. And so then pretty much what I had to do was, I had like a little bit of about that much of the plug sticking out of the hole. And I thought, okay, well, the next step is to try to chisel it off and see if I can get it to break along the threads, because there's a block plug in the thread, so it's a pipe plug. So rethreading that would have been very difficult, and I really needed to make sure that that did not happen. And so then, and like I said, I had no room. So that's where I went back to these guys, and I was able to take this chisel. It's all damaged now because I was using this chisel to chisel away the edge. And I was able to chisel away the edge along the bottom and then along the side, and then I used a pry bar. I was able to break most of the outer portion of the plug off. And then I had to use, so these right here are VAMPLIERs, right there, VAMPLIERs, and these have grips on there, and they go this way instead of sideways. So I was able to use this to grab a few of the pieces out. Because of the way that the threads went, they grabbed really well. And then I had to resort to some Mac Tools, back to the Mac Tools, some Mac Tools cutters. And these are about, I don't know, 9 inches. And I was able to use these to get the remaining portion out. And then at that point, it was pretty much like all or nothing. And you know what, I got to try something. And so I went back to the easy out, went back to the extractor, and I turned it and it didn't want to go, and I took it back out, and I kept trying it, kept working it, and obviously it kept moving into different spots. And then finally turning it, I got it to move, and then it unthreaded all the way. So really what this video is about is to show you, so don't get frustrated and just walk away. Obviously you can't really walk away. I mean, I guess you can and say, boss man, hey, I can't get it out, somebody else is gonna have to do it. But I couldn't do that. I had to figure it out. And so what I want to tell you is, when you have a situation like this and you're perfectly centered, man, get your tools, invest in these tools that I've showed you here. These are all tools that are really, really important to extracting bolts, to getting tough situations figured out. This is actually a really good set. This Mac Tools extractor set. It's funny because I don't have a lot of Mac tools, but with this job, I ended up using pretty much almost all Mac tools. So you just got to remember the tools that you have, go back in your arsenal, check them out. These VAMPLIERs, these are pliers that I rarely use, but when I need them, they are golden. So don't always just buy a tool that you're going to need right now. If you see something that looks like it might come in handy, if you see something that looks like it's going to serve a purpose one day and it's not super expensive, buy those tools. Those are the tools that you are going to be using when you get into a situation like this where you just can't get it out. You just are backed up against a wall and there's nothing that you can do. You're scrambling through your tools, and that's where you come across things like this, you know, extra cutters that you bought, left-hand drill bits, extractors, you know, all this stuff that you got. Also, make sure that you get a good set of carbide drill bits. Now, the Mac, I prefer the Mac because I've heard from some people that Snap-on and Matco, maybe they don't warranty their bits all the way down to a certain size. I'm not 100% certain. I've never had that problem because the only real good drill bits I ever bought were Mac. Before that, I had bought, like, you know, different brands from Home Depot and things like that. So buy these, and when they get dull, my Mac driver told me a tip. One day he came in, I was like, dude, I got a couple that are dull. I can't remember which ones. He's all, turn them upside down. Whenever one's dull, whenever one's burned, whatever, turned upside down. So when he comes in, you just look in here and you go, okay, it's this one, this one, this one, and then you know exactly what to get warranted. And it's still there in case you need to use it or you want to try to use it, in case it's not completely dead. So this guy right here was probably the hardest bolt I've ever extracted. This thing took me 4 hours. So investing your tools, investing your drill bits, investing your extractors. As long as I've been doing this, I didn't used to invest a lot of money in drill bits and extractors and things like that. And I've actually had extractors break off because I use cheap, crappy extractors. So the moral of the story is buy your tools, buy them from the truck. They're warranted and they're going to do the job because they're better quality. I mean, you pay more for a reason. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it taught you something, and I hope in the future maybe you go buy something and it saves your butt. But remember these tools. I'll put a link in the description below for all these tools that I've used here. And thanks for checking out Nuts and Bolts with Tone. Check me out on Instagram at Nuts and Bolts with Tone for the daily life. I show a lot of this random stuff through there, the frustrations, things like that. In this case, actually, Diagnostic Dentist gave me a tip to break off the outside edge and try to chisel out along the threads. Luckily, it didn't get to that point, but it gave me the idea to use the chisel to knock the outside edge off, and then that's actually kind of helped me get it off. So remember that. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and hit that bell, and you get notified of all of my future content, which you're definitely going to want to see. See you next time.